Hello and welcome back to Redeeming Reels, a podcast where we see the redemption within the reels. I am the host Rye, and today we have a fun episode. As you can see from the title, my friends and I guess family as well chose what I watched this week. So essentially, what happened was I sent a text out to my friends and my family, and I said, "Hey, I'm doing an episode where I am controlled what I watch by the close people in my life, my friends, my family." And it's not all my friends, and I'm planning on doing more of these. So if you are my friend listening to this and you did not get picked, don't worry, uh, you'll be back. Yeah, so I got given 13 movies to watch. I chose a movie for myself, and then I randomized my watch list and had a movie picked out from my watch list on Letterboxd. And so that is how it went. It was a lot of fun getting to tackle a bunch of these movies. I'd seen one, two, three, four, five. I had seen 5 out of the 15, so that was a success. I got 10 new watches in. Um, from a very very wide variety of films. So it was a good time. But how this episode is gonna go is I'm gonna go through and run through exactly what these movies are, then run through them in what how I enjoyed them, my review of them, all these things. Some probably a little bit longer than others, and then I will give my ranking, and then we'll get out of here. But as you can see, kind of elephant in the room. This is a new setup. I switched where my desk is, and so you got kind of a bookshelf and my movies and stuff in the back, with a nice, where is it? Nice little fire alarm right there. Might have to put a hat over that, but yeah. So right now it's we're about to get into it. Thank you for watching, listening, viewing, subscribing. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. And make sure to check out my other podcast with my brother called the Chick and the Duck Podcast. But as for Redeeming Reels, gonna be more consistent starting now. We just released an episode about Spider-Man live action. We have this episode. I got an episode about Hitman coming out. Got an episode about my media collection, like what I have that I'll be recording here tomorrow, I believe, and have that out later this week. But yeah, so it should be good. But let's get on into it. Firstly, excuse me. I will be going through who picked what for me. So first of all, this is in alphabetical order. I chose a movie for myself, and the movie that I chose for myself was Bad Boys 2. The reason I chose this for myself is basically Bad Boys 4 came out, and I really wanted to revisit Bad Boys 2 because I had it pretty low, and it was apparently the best of the franchise. And was it? I don't know. We'll see. My wife Jenna, she chose the documentary Blackfish. My buddy Tanner chose the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox. My friend Kayla chose the movie Gone Girl. My friend Michael chose the movie called I'm Not Here. My friend Luke Peffley chose the movie Inception. My brother Micah chose Mike Birbiglia, The Old Man in the Pool. My buddy Nate Kirsch chose the movie A Monster Calls. A random number generator on of my watch list chose the documentary My Brother Jordan. My friend Ben chose the movie North Hollywood. My friend Brighton chose the movie The Polar Express. Unfortunately. My mom chose the movie The Silence of the Lambs. My dad chose the movie Taps. My littlest brother Elijah chose the movie Think Like a Dog. And then my friend Emma chose the movie The Village. So, first off, let's get into it. First one I will be reviewing is Bad Boys 2. Like I said, this is a rewatch, but it had been so long since I watched this, so I previously had this at like a 3-star. And I am not sure why, because this was, I mean, an absolute thrill ride. It was so much fun. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are absolutely incredible together. Their chemistry on screen is amazing. They're funny, they're fun. And this is from start to finish just a blast. It's one of the most fun movies potentially that there is. I can definitely see myself revisiting this over and over and over again. This is a franchise that I really want to show my wife now after remembering how actually good it is. Especially going to the cinema to see the fourth, which I think is the second best in the franchise, with Bad Boys 2 being the best. And so I mean, I just love this movie. I think it's so much fun. I think these two are literally like the perfect duo, and it's completely shot up. Um, it shot up my ranking on like my favorites list. So really, really good stuff. Um, I watched next Blackfish. Um, I watched Blackfish, which is the documentary. Kind of give some context here. A notorious killer whale, Tilikum, is responsible for the death of 3 individuals, including a top killer whale trainer. Blackfish shows the sometimes devastating consequences of keeping intelligent and sentient creatures in captivity. So this was a really interesting watch. Obviously, I've heard about this documentary. It's very polarizing, very, very popular. Um, and that's why it's interesting. See, documentaries are fine and I like them, but um, it's kind of difficult for me to fully get on board with something when I don't know what's true. I am taking it as true, and there's clearly truth to it, regardless. But you see different analysis that is in articles about how its inaccuracies and whatnot, and that muddies the water a little bit for me and my experience with watching the film and my reaction to the doc. Um, I guess I liked it. Like I don't know how to review a documentary like this. I thought the filmmaking of it was fine. It was nothing special. There are definite things that I can conclude. You shouldn't keep killer whales in these tiny cages or tiny tanks. And like I'm taking a story as is. And what happened is tragic. The deaths of these people is tragic. The injuries is tragic. And there's some absolutely insane stuff that goes on. But at the same time, I don't know what's true and what's not true. And so it's tough for me. And I'm not trying to make the statement that this is all false and whatnot. I'm just, this is controversial, but I'm definitely not taking sides with like SeaWorld, let's just say. So I found it very intriguing. It was very interesting. What happened was horrifying, both to the people affected as well as these killer whales that are in such small tanks. So, yeah, it was tough. Tough watch. I then watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is absolutely incredible. Wes Anderson is one of my favorite filmmakers literally ever. Over the past 2 years, I really got into his filmography. Asteroid City from last year is one of my favorite movies literally ever. And this one is right up there as well. There's so much good stuff going on here. There's so much to talk about. The stop motion animation I think is brilliant. I think this medium that Wes used in this particular film and this topic and everything I think just works so well. It works absolutely to perfection. And I just it was so there's so many sequences where my jaw is just on the floor. I'm like, that was amazing. Like, give me more of that. So I really, really enjoy that. Um, this movie looks gorgeous. I mean, it visually is just stunning to look at. Like I said, the animation is fantastic, but these certain shots and the way that Wes moves the camera and orchestrates kind of how this movie flows together visually, I just think is beautiful, and I really am such a fan. Um, Wes is perfect for something like this. These adaptations with Roald Dahl, his books, and obviously, if you saw the shorts on Netflix, he does a great job. So, um, but visuals aside, like We're getting really compelling voice performances from lots and lots of people, especially George Clooney as Mr. Fox. We get just one of the best characterizations of a character. This this movie creates a sense where I fall in love with Mr. Fox in this character. He's relatable. He deals with something that we all deal with. We deal with greed, with contentment issues, and identity. And the Fox, he's dealing with that all throughout this movie. And George Clooney really sells exactly what he's feeling through just his voice inflection and his performance, and it's absolutely brilliant. I'm such a fan. Um, I I can watch the movie over and over again. It's so good. If you have not seen it, seriously, I highly recommend it. I love it, and the fact that this movie ends with a dance sequence is literally the best thing ever. All right, moving on. We are talking about Gone Girl. Gone Girl is a movie directed by David Fincher, starring Ben Affleck and, oh my goodness, what's her name? Rosamund Pike. Neil Patrick Harris is in this. Tyler Perry's in it. If you don't know, basically what happens is this movie starts out with Ben Affleck, where his wife Rosamund Pike goes missing, and there's a crime scene in his house, and it's believed that he potentially murders his wife. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but this movie is intense. It's thrilling. I mean, we're getting such a good performance from Ben Affleck, but Rosamund Pike is really shining here. She's giving this deeply nuanced and layered performance of a person who is so psychotic and crazy and a very complex character. And for her to do this and her and Ben to play off each other, it was so, so good. This is my second viewing on this. I liked it more, I think, the first time, but my rating scale has changed a little bit. So, um, yeah, it's still amazing. It's fantastic. I think the story's brilliant. The direction of David Fincher here is really, really solid. And for me, this is the top three Fincher behind The Social Network and Seven. So I think it's better than Fight Club. I think it's better than The Killer. You know, a couple other movies in there, but so good. My jaw, the first time I watched it, was on the floor from what was happening, what was going down. There's some sequences in this that are seriously so incredible. I love this movie. I'm a big fan. I watched a movie called I'm Not Here. So it's interesting. For context, this is a movie starring J.K. Simmons and Sebastian Stan, where they both play the same person. Um, it's a man that struggles with tragic memories of his past to make sense of his present, but soon realizes that time isn't the enemy he thinks it is. And so we're getting a lot of time jumps here in this movie between Sebastian Stan's age and J.K. Simmons and just the lighter life. And there's some mixture there where there's just kind of like they're seeing each other. I don't know exactly how this is working type beat. And it's tough because my friend who recommended me this does really love this movie, and I can definitely see why. The story is very interesting. The themes that are going on here, exploring regret, grief, loss, time, all these things are super compelling. Um, but it didn't work for me personally. Just kind of how the story was told, I was just kind of thrown off. Um, the things keeping it together for me was J.K. Simmons and his performance. I think it was absolutely incredible. But that's J.K. Simmons. We can kind of expect that. I thought Sebastian Stan was fine at best. It wasn't my favorite in the world performance wise from him. So I don't know. There are some moments that are really good in this that are worth kind of looking over, and I do think the movie's worth um, uh, watching. Like, I don't think it's an aggressively bad movie, but it's just kind of for me, kind of 50-50, and that's okay. Um, I wish it worked for me. I rewatched Inception. There's not a lot to say. Everybody's seen Inception. I don't hold Inception as highly as other people in Nolan's ranking. I think it's very good. I'll give my rating kind of later. And it's a good movie. like really good. In fact, like Christopher Nolan is like in fact a really good filmmaker. That's kind of what I conclude when I watch this movie. Leo is great. I mean, this cast is incredible. Um, this movie doesn't personally connect with me as much as other Nolans, but I think it's great. I think it's awesome. Um, but nonetheless, um, it's just not my favorite, which is okay. That's fine, you know. So, still very good. Next, I watched the comedy special Mike Birbiglia, The Old Man and the Pool. And my brother loves Mike Birbiglia. He's watched a lot of his specials. Um, and this is the first one I've watched. And he's not the funniest, I would say. Like, at least this comedy special was not the funniest one that I've seen. I didn't laugh the most. But it's potentially the best that I've ever seen, if that makes sense. Because what's so incredible about Mike Birbiglia is that, one, he is very funny. I do think that he is a very good comic. I think he's funny. I think he's charming, in a kind of dad type of way. But he is such a good storyteller. The way that Mike Birbiglia tells and shows and kind of showcases these comedy specials that he has, or at least this one, and my brother told me it's kind of similar for everything else, is he seamlessly weaves together all these different stories with this one big overarching story kind of for the special. And so you have a starting point and an end point, and you there's this overarching theme kind of throughout, but he's jumping off into random places from his life, and he just is weaving these together so eloquently, and beautifully, and it was just a joy to watch. I think I was personally not convicted, but inspired to strive to a point to be this type of storyteller as a pastor and teacher. And so it's so impressive what he's doing here, and I can't wait to watch more. Not because I think he's the funniest guy in the world and I think he's hilarious, but because of how good he is at his craft, and storytelling. So really, really incredible stuff. I watched The Monster Calls, which was a tough watch, and not a tough watch in the sense that it was bad, because this movie is far from bad. This movie it's deeply personal. It's heartbreaking, and seemingly it's all too relatable. It tells the story of this young kid who is grieving his mom's soon to be death. His parents were divorced. His dad's kind of coming to visit, but his mom has cancer, and it's still not decided whether or not she's going to pass away with her treatment and whatnot. And he's struggling, and that's relatable. My mom has not died of cancer, or she doesn't have cancer, but I've dealt with loss, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I mean, this is a young boy. I don't remember exactly how old he is. But he's around 10, maybe late elementary school, maybe early middle school. But everybody deals with loss, and going through that process where you're like about to lose somebody, that's hard. Like, how do you do that? Like, you don't do it well typically, definitely not your first time. You can grow, and later in life you can kind of deal with that in a better way. But for some people, for this young boy in particular in this film, he doesn't deal with it, and the way he does is not healthy. He's grieving, but he's not grieving because he's refusing to let all these emotions out. Doesn't want to talk about it. He imagines this monster in his mind to help him get through it, who's telling these stories to him to kind of help him process some of this grief, and it causes him to lash out. And it's like, man, I get it. Like, I get that, because it does such a good job of capturing the emotions and of someone grieving or lack thereof grieving, and emotion, that how trauma affects us, especially like in our youth. And that's just so good. Like, it is really so relatable. It's so deeply personal, and I really had a good time watching this. kind of. You know what I mean? There is some stuff that I think were issues. I thought we saw way too much of the adult drama that I did not care about at all. Everything between this young boy and the monster, who's voiced by Liam Neeson, I think was spectacular. I think this movie shot really well. I think it's pretty nice to look at. I really enjoyed it. It was a tough watch, but it was a very important watch. So if you really want to kind of a fantasy take on grief and trauma and depression and loss, like this is your movie. So this random number generator for me gave me My Brother Jordan, which has been on my watch list for a while, and I don't know how to rate it. If I'm being just completely honest with you, I don't know how to rate it because you're, how do you even put this? Like, it's perfect. First off, there's nothing wrong with it. It's so personal, right? I mean, it is gut wrenching. It's heartbreaking. Like that's saying heartbreaking is an understatement. It's one of the most intimate, raw, and emotional pieces of media I've ever seen. If you don't know what it is, let me explain it a little bit to you. It is a love letter that chronicles the life and death of Jordan Robinson through the eyes of his younger brother Justin. His younger brother Justin is a filmmaker, and he spent, I mean, insane amount of time on this. I wanted to share this. He when he finished the documentary, this is what his brother Justin said about this documentary. He said, my documentary, My Brother Jordan, is officially done. It took me 8 years, 10 states, 102 interviews, 300 plus digitized tapes, 450 plus hours of footage, 1,200 pages of medical documents, all equaling to a 63-minute love letter to my hero. And, you know, I felt that. I believed it was a love letter. This is only 60 minutes long, and it is magnificent. I think from a filmmaking perspective, not that this matters for this documentary, but it's really good. I think that it looks very solid. I think the editing is very good. But this is so important. This is such an important piece of media that will forever be in my memory. For me, it felt too personal. I don't have an older brother. I have two younger brothers. But the fact that it was a brother, Jordan and his brother, and he's got more older brothers too. They grew up in a Christian household. His brother Jordan was a believer and followed Jesus up until the day he died. And that's me and my brother Micah. They loved the Tar Heels. They loved playing basketball together. This was just too relatable and too personal to like keep myself together. And it was a hard watch. It's one of the best things I've ever watched. But it was incredible. Jordan, as I said, was a follower of Jesus, and he embodied the way of Jesus, from what I can tell. His brothers, his coaches, his parents, his friends all said this. That this man, in such a short amount of time, loved God and loved his neighbor. And his story should inspire us to do the same. And genuinely, this is one of the best pieces of media I've ever seen. So I highly recommend it. Be prepared to cry, grab a tissue. Watch a movie called North Hollywood, which is funny because It had like so much potential. I've talked to my friend about it who recommended it to me, who also didn't think it was the best. But this is how I'd say. North Hollywood is like if you were given the pieces to a Lego set and then someone took away the instructions, right? It had everything that it needed to be this really solid coming of age skater film, but then just fell short. It's like that you had no instructions and then you built your entire Lego set and like it sucked. It was like kind of bad, but like some of it looks good and there's so many pieces in here that look awesome. But like this whole middle section is really bad and this end, that's kind of how it was. It just completely missed the mark for me. I don't know exactly where it went wrong. It's like hard to like pinpoint an area that went wrong, but I just did not enjoy it fully. Which is funny enough. But I love the vibe of it. I thought there was some really interesting stuff. I had trouble connecting with the main characters throughout the runtime, and Miranda Cosgrove didn't work for me at all. It wasn't bad at all. Like, it wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't great either. I think it is completely fine. I'll never watch it again, and that's that. But it's very like Lady Bird coded, mid '90s coded. So if you want a really good coming of age movie, watch Lady Bird. If you want it to be about skating too, watch mid '90s. Just my opinion. Watch the Polar Express. I like the Polar Express, but not in June. That's my review. So, also, it's a CGI nightmare, and I would not be mad if they ever made this in a live action. That would be kind of cool. I watched The Silence of the Lambs, and holy crap, this movie bangs. This movie is absolutely incredible. It's been so long. I've been wanting to watch it for such a long time. Finally got around to it, and I'm genuinely so excited that I finally did. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Crazy, crazy, crazy movie. It reminds me a lot of the same experience that I had with Seven. Um, I mean, Anthony Hopkins is, just giving an incredible performance here. 16 minutes of screen time, won Best Actor. Jodie Foster's really good. The story itself is phenomenal. It was like one of those things where like you lean up in your chair and you lean forward and you're just locked in for the rest of the movie. That was me. It was incredible. I loved every second of it. I can definitely see myself rewatching it. Um, oh gosh, just masterclass and thrill and suspense and just bonkers story, and I loved it. Anthony Hopkins is giving an all-time performance here. Yeah, so good. But yep, Taps. This is a movie that my dad recommended to me. It gives off what I would say Dead Poet Society vibes. Essentially, a military cadet takes extreme measures to ensure the future of their academy when its existence is threatened by local condo developers. It was good. I thought it was. I thought it was definitely good. I enjoyed my time with it. It's full of a bunch of young stars before they were famous in the early '80s, and so that was cool to kind of see them in their first roles just before they're famous. So that was a good time. I think it shot pretty well. I think the story's good. It's nothing like amazing where I'm just gonna be dying to watch it again, but I liked it. I don't have a lot to say about it, but I thought it was good, and I can see why my dad really likes it. And if we're in the business of remaking '80s movies, let's do this one, and that's a compliment. So, my brother recommended to me "Think Like a Dog," starring Josh Duhamel and Megan Fox. And I said Sam Witwicky did not save the universe twice for his buddy Lennox to be shacking up with Michaela. And in all seriousness, it's not good. It's got a cute message, with some like cute moments, I guess. Like there's some love stuff and like rekindling and redemption. Haha, real redeeming reels. So that was good, but like it's a Netflix original. about a talking dog. It wasn't very good, and that's okay. It would have been a lot better if they didn't have like this evil tech CEO dude trying to like steal technology from a 10-year-old. That was weird. I watched The Village. Lastly, this is the last film I watched. The Village, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who historically I do not like. If we look at M. Night's filmography, I have Split out of 3. I have not seen The Sixth Sense. I have not seen Old. Knock at a Cabin's a 3.5. Glass is a 2.5. Unbreakable is a 4, my highest rated. Then you have The Last Airbender, which is a half star. After Earth, which is a half star, and The Happening, which is 1 star. 1 star. So historically, not very high on this guy M. Night Shyamalan. No, but I thought this was fine. I didn't love it by any means. I kind of liked it. Like I said, it was fine. I'm really excited for M. Night's movie Trap, but this for me was not my speed. It wasn't my thing. I thought it was fine, like good. Nothing was jumping out. Nothing was spectacular here. In concept, I really enjoyed it. I thought the concept itself was pretty interesting. But then kind of the last bit of the film just lost me. And I just didn't vibe with it, which is fine. There's some interesting themes here. I think on a technical level, this is pretty brilliant. Some really, really good direction from M. Night. Maybe his best directed film that I've seen. Shockingly, even though I didn't connect with the story at all. But I think from a visual standpoint, it looks very, very good. I think the performances are solid. We're getting some stars here. Jessica Bryce Dallas Howard. Adrian Brody's in this. Joaquin Phoenix is in this. And we're getting some good performances here. But, it wasn't my thing. And so, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of M. Night anyway. And so maybe that kind of contributes to him. And I don't like the way this man writes. He's just very choppy, robotic writing, as a lot of people do say. So, but yeah, so those are my reviews of these movies. And now it's time to rank them. From 15 to 1. What is the worst and the best of these 15 movies that I watched? And if you want me to do something again like this, please let me know. If you want me to, I've thought about having my students, suggest movies. I've had lots of things. So one person pick every movie. But in 15th place, at a 1.5, I gotta pull up my list. It's in alphabetical order right now. Sort by your rating, high to low. Sorry, this is awkward. Let's see. I don't remember where I bought this. This is bad podcasting. Alrighty, here we go. Here's my ranking of all these movies and what I rated them. So in 15th, at a 1.5, is Think Like a Dog. Sorry, Elijah. At 14th, at a 2.5, so just mid, I'm Not Here, starring J.K. Simmons and Sebastian Stan. At a 3-star in my 13th slot is M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. In the 12th slot, we have the controversial documentary Blackfish at a 3-star as well. At a 3-star, continuing that pattern, at the 11th spot, I have the Lady Bird-esque skate coming of age film, North Hollywood. Coming in number 10 with a 3.5 stars, I have Taps. And number 9 out of 3.5 stars as well, we have The Polar Express. Out of 4-star, getting to movies that I think are very, very good, very solid at this point, we have A Monster Calls. At number 7, we have Mike Birbiglia's The Old Man in the Pool, again at a 4-star. Maybe 4.5. I might up that. At number 6, we have Christopher Nolan's Inception at a very low 4.5, but a 4.5 indeed. At number 5, so into the top 5, so these are great. We have David Fincher's Gone Girl. At number 4, we have the movie that I chose for myself, Bad Boys 2 at a 4.5 as well. And at number 3, we have the rest of these are 5 stars. We have what my mom recommended me, The Silence of the Lambs at 5 stars. At number 2 is Wes Anderson's amazing accomplishment in stop motion animation. We have Fantastic Mr. Fox. And number 1, which may be a 6-star piece of media, we have the incredibly heartbreaking documentary called My Brother Jordan. So that is my ranking. I hope you enjoyed. It was a lot of fun to make and a lot of fun to do this. So if this is interesting, if this is fun, let me know, and I'd love to do it again. And feel free to recommend me something. But yeah, I will see you guys next time for whatever video's next. I don't remember. But do me a favor, go watch one of these movies that I just watched, preferably the 4-star and above. But go take a look at one of these movies and let me know what was your favorite part.